Awesome. Well, welcome. I'm going to say welcome to our Winners Wednesday episode, but we all know today is Tuesday. Um,
That's
so
right.
if anyone caught that, the Winners Wednesday logo is still up here. But I want to thank you both for hopping on a day early. I'll actually be traveling back from overseas, back to the U.S. So very excited about that. So I appreciate both of you kind of changing your schedule around and getting to it a day early. So good
Yeah.
afternoon, I guess, for you guys. It's good night for me, but good afternoon for you all.
Mm.
So I think today is a really, really interesting topic and one that I personally love to talk about because, as you guys know, we're all here to impact agents' lives and make a huge difference. And one of the ways that we can do that is through the model that we've seen that has changed lives. So I really want to dive into the top 10 reasons why agents don't join eXp Realty. But before I do that, I'd love for you guys, JB, Ruben, if you don't mind just giving a brief introduction.
Ladies first.
I am Jaybee Hawkins. I'm out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I am a team leader of a top team here in Tulsa.
Sweet. And my name is Ruben Garcia. I do what I call real estate CIA. So C is the coaching consulting, the I is investing, and the A is the agent side of the business.
I love that. Do you guys mind just sharing briefly how long you've been with eXp?
17 months.
Wow, you're like, it's like a newborn
Yeah.
baby.
Child.
They're like, oh, it's 17 and a half months. And I'm like, shit, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, okay. A year and a half. So for me, 3 years, around 3 years. A little
Awesome.
over 3 years, yeah.
You're vested. You're at the 3-year mark. Awesome. Well, and I'm old. I'm the old one in the family, and so I've been with eXp for coming on in October. It'll be 8 years. I can't believe it's
That is
Mm.
awesome.
gone by way too quick. So, with that said, we've got some viewers here. So, if you guys have any questions, anything that you want us to highlight or maybe expand on a little bit, please go ahead and comment below. We'd love to hear from you. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started with number one, which is the 4 reasons why I believe agents join eXp. And then we'll get into later why they don't join eXp. So we all know the 4 pillars. The first one being the technology. We're a technology forward company, the training, the stock ownership, and the revenue share. Now, why agents don't join eXp, what I find is one of the biggest mistakes when trying to bring on an agent to the company is they try to sell the agent on the proposition of why they joined instead of finding out what's important to the agent. Like, just as an example, I mean, JV, Ruben, do you guys mind sharing what initially got your attention to join EXP? Because I know both of you had said no previously to joining EXP.
Yeah, shame on me.
We're not hating. We're not hating. We're just sharing real life stories.
Well, I didn't take the time to really figure out how the model worked, and I just really wasn't open to it in the beginning. I just wasn't, open to it. Was the question why I joined EXP?
Hmm.
Why I did? Okay, why I did join EXP was because I had been a real estate agent for going on 16 years, and I was working and I was doing the work, and every year production was getting higher and higher. And what I realized was there was never going to be an end to that. And so when I learned about the EXP model, there was a lot of things that just made a lot of sense. It allowed me to really kind of step into a different role. I'm still in production, I still have a team, but it also allowed me to step into a role where I could help other agents, and the company rewarded me for that. And so there was an end. I could kind of step out of production at some point. And before that, that was not an option before EXP.
I love that. Awesome. Ruben, same thing with you. I know you'd heard about EXP and your former brokerage. What caught your attention to join?
Yeah, I had no intention of joining. I was red to the core. It is not something I was even trying to entertain. And then life happens, right? Like you just have things that happen to where you want to start seeing what else is out there. I know we were growing a different type of coaching program within my last firm, and it got the axe over political stuff, and it started not turning into the place that I first fell in love with. And then there's a quote, right? There's a quote that says, "Don't complain about what you tolerate." And I was complaining about what I tolerated. So I was like, you know what? Oh, it's weird. I can make a decision. Okay. All right. So what I started to do was I started looking, to be 100% honest, I started looking for a company that felt and at least had some of the same things as my past brokerage. I wanted that familiarity. You know, hope I said it right.
It sounded good to me.
Yeah. And talking to a few friends and what it looked like, I was like, man, that might be the company that I go to. And then even when I made the switch, it still took me about 3-4 months to actually say something. Because I was so in love with my last brokerage. So, but you're treated different. And at some point you have to decide if I'm going to continue to take this on the head and complain about it, or make a change and better my life and my situation.
I love that. For those of you who are watching, if you agree, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up and comment below. So here's the next big one is I hear this all the time, and I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions. eXp is just a recruiting company. What's your take on that?
It is. What you've heard now.
So Ruben's going to get off the internet. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't even know if I was even consumed with that before I even joined. It wasn't even something like, it was more of, because on the regional level, when I used to go to these regional meetings at the last brokerage, it was more of leadership always talking about they're taking, which I don't know how they do that. That's kidnapping. There has to be some type of mutual agreement, but they're taking our largest producers. So what I saw was that the large producers were moving over, and everyone was scratching their head, didn't know why. So it wasn't really much a recruiting thing before I came over. It's just all the big players are going there. I wonder what's up.
Good.
Yeah.
Jaybee?
I really feel like that's the farthest thing from the truth. I mean, I personally have taken the recruiting side of the business very seriously, because I think it's just like a lot of things in life. When you learn some information, it is natural when that information is awesome and it can change lives and impact people's lives and careers. I think it's you naturally want to tell your friends and people that you know that are in real estate. But really, isn't it only like less than 10% of the 85,000 agents that we have actually take that, you know, that recruiting aspect of the business? We have a ton of production, and we're very, very, you know, we focus on production at eXp. I mean, that's what I've seen once I've been with the company.
Yeah, when I pulled up, so who went to eXp Shareholder Summit? Raise your hand. Oh, I thought we all. Why did I think we all? Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anyways,
my other half went for me. So can I kind of raise my hand?
Of course.
Way to go.
I know, my bad. Hey, this is real, right? This is a real video. So I took some pictures of some slides that were up there, and I screenshot it because I got a video all about eXp Shareholder Summit if anybody's interested. But I took some screenshots because I kind of forgot about that. So agent count growth year over year, 2019 to 2021. eXp grew by agent count. Looks like about 175%. It's the big bar. I know it's blurred. And then I look at transaction side. So year over year, same years, 2019, 2021, eXp grew, looks like 225%, which it's the big bar. So what does that say, right? What it's saying is that we are growing more transactions than we are agent count. And if we know if numbers are the language of business, I mean, this is facts, right? So like that completely kills that argument. If we're crushing it on transactions over 225%, and yet we're not growing that much on agents, what does that say? Does that say
Right.
we're being more and more productive with the agents that are coming on, or the agents that we already have? Period.
100%. And back to numbers, just like JB said, less than 10% are really truly active in the revenue share. And I would probably argue, more like 5%, which means 95% of our agents are just focusing on production. And just as you guys said, I mean, it's, if you go to an amazing restaurant and you just blown away by the food and the service, I would imagine you're going to tell your friends it's good, right? It's the same thing with eXp. So again, that's why it's not recruiting. I always tell people, I am not here to recruit you. I'm here to share the opportunity. If you see the opportunity, you think it's a fit for you, awesome. Let's talk about it, right? If not, I hope we're still friends, right?
Yeah. And I was just going to jump on that real quick. And the one thing, the way that we look at it, which I love and which I've always done with every company ever, even when I worked at UPS, we were always looking for talent. There's a quote that says deep in the bench. And what does that mean, right? Like, if I get sick, if you get sick, if they get pregnant, which one of my main agents got pregnant, she's like, all right, I'm just going to chill out for a bit. I'm like, so what do, right? Like, I have a bench that's big enough that I can say, all right, obviously enjoy your time or whatever that looks like. And then I'm going to bring in someone else on the bench. We're always looking for talent. So how cool is it that you get rewarded for looking for talent for something we've always done forever with every business I've ever been a part of ever? It's a lot more profitable here to bring on talent. And obviously talent sees that opportunity, and then they bring on more talent, and then they bring on more talent. Before you know it, you're surrounding yourself with big thinkers, big doers, and you can't hold me back from having more conversations with talent to bring them aboard. It just is what it is.
Well, 100%. When you have the ability to change agents' lives, why wouldn't we? I mean, it's like, I almost feel like it's extremely selfish of me to withhold that from people that I care about. So, which number 3, I want to get into, which I know JB, you mentioned this, and I'm sure Ruben, you as well, but this is really, really big, a huge topic for top producers is branding and market share. So, the ability for eXp agents to personal brand. And again, why agents don't join, I think they don't realize the flexibility they have with eXp. So what is your experience has been on personal branding for the agents?
I think that the agents have always had the power. They are the brand. Whatever brokerage they're with, I don't think that makes or breaks their career. And so, just in my personal journey, our team, we increased 10 million in production the first 7 months that we were with eXp. We have always been the brand. I've been with a couple other brokerages, and I just don't think it matters. I think that what should matter the most is how you're structured on the back end, and know that you have the power. You are your brand.
Absolutely. And I think, there are brokerages out there that kind of have that old fashioned mentality where they really pour into their agents that they are the brand and they are building their business because of that brand. So I think, unfortunately, that is instilled in a lot of agents. Ruben, have you seen that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the industry is definitely big on that. And it has been big on that. That's been the cornerstone, but it had to be the cornerstone, right? Like, come work with us at CB, who knows what that stands for, or come work with us here at this company at RM, and just know, like, if you come with us at our broker, we have better tool systems. Look at our brand; it's all over the place. They had to use that, right?
It's more profitable to
100%. And so, like, as we as agents started to become better business owners and started to figure things out a bit. I remember my first brokerage was CB, right? And I tried branding myself. I made my own sign. I think I still have it. I put like the magnets that I should go get. I should try to find it. But the magnets you put on the side of a car that they give you to. So I just bolted those together and swung it. It's kind of swung it. It looked junky, but I did understand the value of starting to try to brand myself. And that was my first year. I think the first 4 months I had a license. They did not like that. They were, of course, not happy about that. So I left and went to a brokerage that you could brand yourself, right? So that's what happens, right? You cannot cap talent. And most talent wants to move into branding themselves. there's a lot more benefit in it, right? One, I can leave different brokerages and still people are going to follow the brand because I've always been the brand, right? I'm the brand. Also, if I sell an eXp, which figures I'm wearing an eXp shirt today, but if I sell this eXp shirt, or if I sold it off their website, eXp makes the money, right? They make that money, which is cool. We all own stock, right? Like, that's awesome. And if we have our own brand and we start selling our own merchandise, which we do, who makes the money then, right? There's so many other ways that you can diversify. Once you learn to brand yourself, it doesn't have to just be about buying and selling homes. You can also have like these little side hustles with your brand as well. And ultimately, nobody cares. Everyone wants to work with you because of you. They could care crap less of who you're with. Try me. Like, just come over to eXp and then you'll find out. But it's 100% true, man. Like, no one cared that I left CB to KW to here. Nobody. No one who was buying and selling homes. Of course, the agents.
General consumers.
The consumer never did, man. It was always proven by Ruben. Period. Okay. So there's a lot more power, a lot more leverage in that. And eXp knows it. And I remember I went to one event and they were like, listen, if we could put eXp on the back of the sign, then we would do that. But unfortunately, real estate commissions are right. Big on that as well. So
yeah, so it is contingent on state guidelines, right? That's what eXp cares about, as long as it's state compliant.
Yeah, don't go to real estate jail. I mean, that's fair enough.
Which we all should care about that, right? And so you mentioned, the fact that we're all owners. So I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about stock. One of the things that I love is because I got in so early, there only being 300 agents in the company. Now there's 85,000, give or take. And everybody's like, oh my God, you got in early, so that's why you're doing good. And then the stock went up. Oh my gosh, now the stock is high and then now it's dropped. And it's like, which one is it? It's either low or it's high. It's like, there's never a right time. So, for me, I know I'm talking to top producers, especially ones that would, be an icon agent and actually have the ability to earn their $16,000 cap back in stock. I'm telling them, hey, you need to get in now. This is the time, hopefully, to earn stock. I can't predict what it's going to do, but we all know that the whole entire stock market's down. So with that said, what conversations have you guys seen that people have been misinformed about the stock?
Ruben, I'll let you take that one first.
When I was at my red firm, and I would go to these regional meetings, it was spread that it's a pump and dump. It's a pump and dump, meaning they're going to pump it up. The people behind the scenes, it's going to get real high, and then they're all going to sell. And then we're going to be all caught at the bottom like, oh my gosh, what do we do with this thing? But that's kind of the propaganda that was being pushed. We didn't realize it was a real business, and not just a real business. Like, yes, EXPI owns, obviously, eXp Realty, right? Like, that makes sense. And I didn't take the screenshot, but we own so many businesses that are under EXPI. So it's so diversified. Exactly. And we didn't understand that, but all we saw and heard, it was pump and dump, be careful, pump and dump, be careful. That was definitely one of the big lies that I was told and believed and spread. That's how much I loved. They could not lie to me at my last firm. I was like, yep, that's truth. Well, let me push it, and I feel bad now, but full transparency, that was definitely a lie.
Right. Well, and I think, one of the things too is there's a lot of copycat brokerages now, with eXp being the first cloud-based brokerage with agent ownership and revenue share. There are some copycats, which is great because that brings healthy competition, which is, good for the market. But with that said, there's a lot of misinformation. One of the things that I'm hearing all the time is, oh, it's like you joining eXp 5 or 10 years ago. This is the opportunity you have now. Well, what they don't realize is a lot of these companies are doing these big IPOs and are very investor heavy, which eXp did the opposite to my understanding. And I am not, a stock expert so by any means. So go to eXp World Holdings for all your information. But, there wasn't this big raise of funds. And so the agents are primarily the owners. And I think that's one of the things that sets us apart. The fact, like you said, Ruben, we're well diversified. There's no debt on the books. I mean, again, eXp World Holdings, you can see all of this. And so, although I think there may be opportunity with some other brokerages, I think that's one of the things that they're selling agents on right now is it's like you got in early. Well, why would I want to get in early? Because I got in early. I know what it's like when I can jump on the rocket ship that's already going, right?
Yeah.
Jaybee, do you have a take on that?
Well, I just think from the agent standpoint, I was the agent that joined and did not have I don't have stocks. I don't play that game. I didn't know anything. My initial thing was, I wanted an opportunity to retire eventually one day. And then I also saw the amount of money that I was paying into my previous brokerage, and that number is astronomical and at this point extremely embarrassing. But as far as the stock goes, the way that I kind of looked at it is not many other real estate companies have a stock. So to me, it was just kind of a bonus. Now being with the company for a year and a half, yeah, that bonus is pretty awesome because I see it grow and it grows. There's so many different ways to get stock. And I just kind of look at it right now. I'm, 16, 17 months in. That's just something that's kind of a bonus that I was not getting anywhere else. So how in the world could that be a bad thing?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's you're getting awarded something that you didn't have before. I mean, I know agents, you mentioned the Red Company, Ruben. I mean, we have agents that joined us from the Red Company 4 or 5 years ago. They've hit Icon every single year and they've got 7 figures in stock, which, they left the Red Company after 5 years and they walked away with nothing. So it's kind of interesting, which really leads me to my next point. It's probably one of the biggest questions that I get, which is pretty easy to handle once they see how the back-end systems work. But broker support, I think a lot of agents think because we're a cloud-based brokerage, they're going to be stuck on this island and they're not going to have any support.
That's in my experience and with the agents here in Tulsa that I've brought to the company, that is not the experience that we've had. In fact, I feel like it's so much easier in so many ways. We can go on to the cloud office, and if we have an accounting issue, we go there. Our brokers, there's so much support. You can message them, email them, get into the world, the eXp world. So I feel like that is not something that we deal with at all as agents.
Yeah, and I will say that you have to you have to be careful too, right? Because you're gonna have you can't have a lot of support, but you could be put in a situation where you don't have a lot of support. So I would definitely, because even the move before I made the move, right? I was being told false information about the company from somebody who's with the company. Was with the company, left, and then this whole thing. But thank you for giving me the real information, because after that, yeah, it was great support, and then from there, and yes, there is the virtual brokerage, which is awesome, like eXp World, because at my last firm, we would have people who are waiting outside the door of the broker in charge, right, to ask questions or anything, right, because they're on a meeting or maybe they're out doing their thing. And that is gone, right? Like there is no other company that I know of that is so leveraged that you could go and there's specialists in each category that you could go in, pull the ticket within eXp World, and you're sitting down with somebody. And if needed, which has already happened to me, they will go into your computer and you just let go of the mouse and they're like, and they're fixing stuff on the back end. And like, how does that even, that is a totally different world than what I'm used to from my last. It was just things get answered and things move so quickly that I'm almost shocked. And some of the agents who have left brick and mortars are like, are you kidding? Like, this doesn't even make sense how much support I'm getting after leaving a supportive brick and mortar where everyone's around the leadership and all of this. But I will say, and you two have done this as well, you've taken responsibility to build a support system as well. So not only does eXp already have that, it's really cool when you align yourself with somebody who's also built that support system, then it's max. You cannot outgrow that support system.
Well, and I want to kind of piggyback off something that you said, which is really important. It's how much you put into it, right? Sure. It's just like if you went into this big brick and mortar office and had this big, beautiful office and you never went in it, yeah, you would feel alone and on an island. It's the same thing with our metaverse. If you never log in, never talk to the brokers, never take any classes, I'm sure you're going to feel alone, right? So you've got, just like
Absolutely.
anything, you've got to tap in. And so my
Good
next one, number 6, is culture and community, which really goes into what we just talked about. For me, I feel like it's hard to explain our culture and community because I feel like it's better than anything I've ever seen before, but it's really hard to explain outside looking in. It's almost like you've got to be a part of it to understand.
I would agree with that 100%. I didn't get it when I very first moved over here. I heard about it. We talked about it. We had conversations, but I've never been a part of any organization where it is a win-win, win-win. You want me to succeed. I want Ruben to succeed. I mean, we want everybody that we come in contact with to succeed. And sadly, that's not always the case in other brokerages. And it's a good feeling to be aligned with something like that.
100%. Ruben, anything else on that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me, once I finally accepted that I actually moved my license, that was the whole thing. It was like I broke up with my girlfriend. It was all wompy. It was weird. Anyways, after I accepted it, then what I realized very quickly is that I was allowed to be me. I was allowed to talk the way I talk. I was allowed to dress the way I wanted to dress. As long as there were results and I was showing up, I could be me. And for me, it was like I was allowed to be free. And in that space, I can get a lot more creative, right? And what's cool is even here, they don't beat down new creative processes, classes, anything that you can. I'm really in with the eXp University, and they tell me a few things like, hey, could you put a class again? And it's me. Right. And they're not like, oh, you can't say this. This goes against the company's internal coaching. And nope, you can't say, no, that goes against this important book that we push at this brokerage. And you can't. It's none of that. It is literally just me being allowed to be me and giving value to more and more agents without the politics. So for me, what this culture looks like is straight up freedom and creativity. 100%.
Freedom, one of my favorite words.
It's a great word.
We named our horse Freedom.
Cool.
Conda, which is one of our amazing agents, icon agents, and former broker owner in Missouri. She said they embrace new and different. Thank you so much, Conda. And again, if you're watching this, you have any questions or any comments, please go ahead and comment below. So, we kind of already talked about copycat brokerages and future promises, so I'll kind of skip over that one. Number 8 is agents don't fully realize the opportunity. So again, they've heard about eXp. Maybe they've been given some misinformation. They didn't look at the numbers. They haven't actually learned the difference of hearing and learning about eXp and really putting side by side, numbers to numbers of what the possibility is. So what do those conversations look like for you guys and gals?
Well, go ahead, Ruben.
Oh, I had a little giggle there. So that's all that was.
Well, I was going to say that, can you repeat the question again? Ruben distracted me with.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to hit mute.
No, so agents don't realize the opportunity. So they've heard about eXp and they think they know about eXp, but they really don't take time to learn about the company and understand the full opportunity.
So this was me. Someone had shared the opportunity with me about eXp 4 years ago, and I totally dismissed it. I think for me, the previous brokerage that I was with, I started seeing these top producers move over to eXp. And I think that, first of all, that kind of got my attention. It was then that I kind of looked at the model and I started researching and YouTubing, and somehow I got to you, Micah. And I really, really took it seriously and looked at all, because I think when you're very first learning about it, it's different. Everything is different. The commission split is different. The stock aspect is different. The revenue share is different. And honestly, it sounded so good, but I thought, man, there's a catch. There's got to be a catch.
It's too good to be true.
Good to be true.
I'm still saying that after 8 years. I'm still pinching myself.
So am I. So I think for me, it took me really just doing my due diligence and talking. I called a lot of those top agents that had moved from the red company or other, big brokerages. I called those agents and I'm like, gosh, I followed you for years. I saw that you just made a move. Why? And I made about 10 of those calls, and it was really, really, the answer was the same. I mean, it's not too good to be true. It's different. And I'm so glad that I made that decision.
I love it. Ruben, I'll let you kind of piggyback on that. And also Conda asked if you have anything to add to this. Meeting with a large independent brokerage, any advice? Which, by the way, Condo had a large brokerage as well. So.
Okay. So, man, now I want to go two different directions, but I'll stay with this one, which is the opportunity at eXp. So I didn't know, definitely 100%. And I didn't know even when I was with the company. So, right, this is a constant learning experience. When I went to Shareholder Summit, I found that there were 2 other ways you can get paid here, right? There are 8 different ways. I made a video about the 8 ways you can make money at eXp. That's 8 different opportunities at eXp right there. And then after I made the video, they came out with dividends. So now we get quarterly dividends, right? So that's another opportunity. You're like, oh man, I knew. Okay, that's cool. And then you can get paid revenue share through success coaching. Mm-hmm. Had no idea about that until I went to Shareholder Summit, which is cool. You get somebody into coaching, and that's awesome. Also, Verbella. So if you share that platform with another company, they come over. That's an opportunity right there as well. So it's just. There's 11, by the way. If you're there's 11 different ways to get paid here, which obviously we love. And now we're starting to learn more. And I guarantee when we go to eXpCon, they're going to drop something else on us, which just creates more opportunity. So this is constantly learning. If you don't understand or know it, welcome to the club. What I would say, kind of a part of what Conda says, and what I would say is watch these videos, learn more about it. It's kind of like reading a book. If you want to know more about investing, pick up an investing book, and there are videos that break this stuff down awesomely, if that's a word. And I'm going to make a t-shirt. I'm going to sell a t-shirt. This is awesomely. But yeah, so just that, I think informing yourself on that. But yes, there's a ton of opportunities here at eXp Wakanda. I'm now a big believer in a 3-way conversation with somebody who also understands bringing over the independent brokerage. If that's you, that's awesome. We obviously have people within our group who have done that as well with 100+ agents. So they get it. They understand it. They now realize how much liability, and that's good. So independent brokers are probably some of the loneliest people out there right now. They don't have the backing of a franchise or anything like that, and they're not really looking at their numbers, and how much they are really netting at the end of the month or the end of the year is probably makes you want to throw up in your mouth. And then they have a ton of liability, and they're getting answers and questions from all agents, the top 20% to the lower 20% in terms of production, and they're exhausted, they're beat up, they're done. And if you could find out kind of what some of those pain points are and how you can get them from where they're at now to where they want to be and just fill in that gap, I think you have a better chance. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I would say now more than ever, right? And here, I'm going to tell you why, because, the last 24 months, everybody has had incredible sales. We all know that sales is declining right now. I'm not saying we're going into this big recession. I'm not being negative. I'm just being honest. And so what's going to happen is if these brokerages were not profitable the last 2 years, which have been at the height of the market, what makes them think they're going to be profitable moving forward? And as you mentioned, Ruben, a lot of times broker owners get into the business without really realizing the expenses, the overhead, and more importantly, the liability. But then also they're limited to their area. So I think that's a big one where a lot of broker owners that look at this model, and by the way, we're in conversation with a lot of them right now because they're looking at eXp. Because they're like, for the first time, I can take a step back. I can now push and offer ownership to my agents, which I couldn't do before. I couldn't split my company before, right? So it's almost a very unselfish move. And then now we can start expanding outside of, Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, or, North Carolina or Tulsa or what have you. Now we can start expanding without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars into a franchise model. So personally, I think eXp is the solution for broker owners. It's like hiring a brokerage management company where now you can still have your branding. We talked about branding before, really still create your own culture, but now you're tapping into a much higher network and more opportunity. JB, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, I just agree with both of what you said. I mean, I definitely see the value in that.
Fantastic. And that leads me into number 9. So we've got 2 more and we'll try to go real quickly because I know we went a little bit over time. So world-class training. Ruben, you kind of already touched on it. Anything you guys want to add about the training with eXp?
I think this is really the most underestimated part of eXp. Is I don't think it's talked about enough. If we go back to, you know, talking about people think eXp is a recruiting company, when in all actuality, we have a ton of productive agents. And I think that eXp does such a good job of all of their training that they offer. I know for myself and my team, you know, and Micah, you and I have had this conversation. When you're at a brokerage, you know, you might get to learn from the same team leader or the same broker or the same trainers every month or every week. With eXp, you can log into so many classes. Aren't there like 80 hours a week or something like that?
Right. Amazing trainers like Ruben.
80.
Yes. Yeah, Ruben's a trainer. So, you know, you can learn from all these different agents on all these different topics. And it's so useful, and it's tactical and tangible information that you can go implement into your business. So I just don't think it's talked about enough. The training is amazing.
Love it. Awesome. And one of the things that I always like to highlight is the fact that our icon agents, which are the top level producers, are the ones that are actually teaching classes in the world. So it's not, you know, a broker maybe that hasn't had a sale in 10 or 15 years. People that are actually physically out there selling. So Ruben, you're in kind of the back end of the eXp University. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I want to say it's 50 to 80 hours. 50 to 80 classes going on a week within eXp world, which is kind of crazy. And they're live, right? Which is crazy. Which also gives you the opportunity that if you do, you know, you're building a team or need to figure out for sell by owners or expires or the stuff you always hear, or just stuff that goes a little bit outside the norm, which is, you know, I know they have the classes on how to purchase homes with cryptocurrencies. I know NFTs were a conversation in some of the classes, which are non-fungible tokens. Like that type of conversation is getting beat down by a lot of people, and we're accepting it and building classes around it. So I don't know, man. This is why when you bring somebody and you allow them to open up their mind to creating new classes and allow that creativity to flow, then you're going to get a lot more material and stuff that's going to benefit you not only now, but what's coming down the line in the future.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, it definitely, instead of, you know, limiting that and pushing kind of a one size fits all, right? I like to call our training an a la carte system. You just log in and take whatever you want and adapt what you want to your business. Yep. So last but not least, and this is the biggest one. Oh my gosh, I deal with this every single day. All right. I learned about eXp. I have answered all my questions. I'm a top producer, or maybe not even just a top producer, but I'm just too comfortable. It's too hard to make the move. Maybe, I think you and I had that conversation. I was like, just rip off the Band-Aid and be done with it.
Yeah, we did. And I'm so glad that I did. You know, I think it's natural to kind of have this fear or something. You know, I logically, it made all the sense in the world. I'd probably done, you know, 2 months of research, because once I started, I was like, you've got to be kidding. How is this even possible? Oh my gosh, it's like, what do they call it? eXp insomnia. But yeah, at the end of the day, you just have to rip it off like a Band-Aid and go for it. And I'm so thankful that I had the support and that, you know, everybody that I was in conversation with just was very supportive.
I love it. Ruben, anything to add to that? How do you handle those conversations?
Well, it might be deeper than just that, right? Like that might just be a surface answer, which probably it is. But there's a quote out there that goes, opportunity doesn't go away. It just goes to the next person. And so if you're looking in your market and the longer you chew on this, I mean, the longer that this doesn't happen, your opportunity is going to go slowly to somebody else. And I'll give you a few examples, which I usually do. And we know one, Micah. So where we had somebody, large team, about to come over to eXp and like, you know, obviously work with us, and we're going to help them scale and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, it might be tough, right? Because they have a large team. I was like, but you better do it soon, because I see it time and time again that your agents will start moving before you can move over. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, a few weeks later, his top listing agent left, went to eXp, and he's right back in the business. Now he's right back in. So which one hurts worse, right? So you got to look at that. And then I would bring up some stories, which, you know, working with 5 Pillars, man, I don't know. They probably had 50 pending, or, you know, like before they moved over, like, so I would just bring her on, right? Shelby Osborne, and say, hey, would that be okay if you could have this conversation? They're feeling the pain if that's the real reason. And could you talk to them about what that looks like, what that feels like, and maybe some of the processes that you went through? Not only that, man, eXp has a team integration system. Yes, thank you. Specialists that help you move everything over anyways. So yeah, there's enough support for that, and there's enough bodies out there who've done it to where they can have that conversation, show what worked for them, and more than likely, if you don't pull it, I'm talking to a brokerage right now, and now listen, they're talking about coming over by the end of this month. But I was like, the faster you move, the better, or your agents will get, you know, kind of ready to go. And I'll be darned, one agent already left and went to eXp. They're just taking too long. And so, like, I'm not joking when I say it or try to build like some pressure sales. People see what this is, and they're moving. They're going to move with you or without you. Opportunity doesn't go away. Let's go to the next person. So I would definitely move forward in the opportunity if you feel that it's a great fit for you.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And again, I think that's, like you said, it's usually a surface level answer or objection. So you got to find out the real reasons, and then it's nothing that we can't work through. Right. So, well, I know we went over time today, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I really appreciate this. Was a great conversation. So I want to thank both of you. Anything else that you guys want to add to the topics?
Can I do a quick plug?
Yeah, 100%. Proven by Ruben.
All right. If you do want to research, because Micah's got a YouTube channel. I got a YouTube channel. We got a lot of information. Jaybee, do you got a YouTube channel?
Not yet.
She's going to have one soon.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. There's a video library in both of those. If you just want to kind of dive a little bit deeper, see what it looks like, ask questions, maybe DM where you don't feel comfortable asking questions on the video. But we're here to answer any questions, no obligations, just information, man. So if you want to go check that out, and if you have any questions, always reach out.
Yep. So what's the best way to reach out to both of you?
You can always text me or give me a call at 918-404-1416, or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Jaybee Hawkins.
Love it.
Same. No, I don't have that number.
Not that same number, though, I would imagine.
Yeah, not the same. Just proven by Ruben. You see it down here, just on any platform, but probably the best is Instagram. DM me, and we can set something up.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both today. I appreciate for going over. I know your time is valuable, so we really appreciate you going over today, and a lot of great content. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good Wednesday tomorrow.
Right.